A double murder, a court order meant to protect a family, and a mental health system that lost track of the man accused of killing his own mother. Here's part one of our investigation, Unmonitored.
This is where their trailer was.
All that's left here now are memories.
Everybody in the neighborhood knows him.
Of Krista Kale's sister Patty and Patty's fiance, Sean Harrison.
They called him Cowboy. I try not to come through here too often, but I do drive past here every single day to go to work.
Patty and Sean were murdered, police say, by Patty's own son, Thomas Matejcek.
Just an awful situation.
Our investigation uncovered that in the days before the murders, Thomas was missing. Just months earlier, investigators say he beat up his mom and her fiancé. A judge issued a court order meant to keep everyone safe.
He finally went to the halfway house, but what, for a couple hours?
Yeah, that's what they said. Well, we heard conflicting stories. We heard a couple of hours is what the court records show, and then somebody else said it was literally he showed up, whoever dropped him off, left.
These are photos of Patty and Sean on the floor of their home after police say Thomas Matejcek attacked them both. Thomas was charged in May 2023 with a felony. A judge ruled him incompetent to stand trial. Instead of jail, he was ordered into outpatient treatment at Centerstone of Florida, a nonprofit mental health provider tasked with finding him housing and monitoring his compliance. Emails between Centerstone and the public defender's office show a specialist found Matejcek a place to stay, a home run by Mary Jennings. We knocked on Jennings' door.
We just had a few questions. We were just working on the Thomas Matejcek case. Didn't know if you could talk to us about...
She can't. She's not allowed to speak about it.
But she declined to speak with us.
So we have some families, a family I represent and a family that Mr. McKnight represents, that clearly has some questions about how Mr. Matejcek ended up at your house and your relationship with Centerstone.
But in sworn testimony in the case filed by Patty and Sean's families against Centerstone, Jennings described the day Thomas arrived.
So when the doorbell rung, I got up and opened the door and invited him in.
She said he stayed less than 30 minutes, just long enough to shower and change his clothes.
I gave him the money to go get cigarettes and something to drink, and he never did come back.
Even so, records show Jennings billed Centerstone $480 for a 2-week stay. She admitted in a deposition that she backdated the receipt.
In case if he had came back.
Okay.
I hold the bed.
She did not notify his Centerstone case manager, Tabitha Hammersmith, immediately. It would be 5 days before letting her know he was gone.
And you spoke to Ms. Jennings directly? Yes.
In her deposition in the criminal case against Thomas, Hammersmith testified she was the one that picked up Thomas from jail and drove him to Jennings' home.
When you picked Thomas Matejcek up at the jail, he explained a lot of things to you, including that he was hearing voices and speaking out loud and not getting sleep. So this was not in response to a direct question, correct? But in response to how was he feeling?
It was him volunteering that information when I told him of the living arrangement that had been set up for him.
But when he disappeared, she did not notify the court, nor did she file a violation.
At the end of October 30th, when Mr. Matejcek did not make his appointment and you did not know where he was, did you consider writing the court?
I did not.
Why not?
Because in forensic case management, building rapport with clients and ensuring that they have at least one other opportunity prior to violating them in order to get them to engage in services, we don't tend to violate initially.
However, Florida Department of Children and Families procedures require immediate notification to the court when someone violates conditional release. In a separate deposition, Hammersmith was asked.
So you agree the regulations exist, just you don't have the capacity to actually follow them?
Her response?
None of us have the capacity to perform those.
I still find myself looking down here every single day, hoping that, they're going to be here.
10 days after leaving Jennings' home, Manatee County deputies say Thomas murdered his mother and her fiancé.
That's what I go to sleep with every night, is the thought of what her last minutes were.
Those murders led to another discovery. Up next, what we uncovered about the woman paid to run that house and why Centerstone kept sending clients there. Records show Centerstone of Florida receives tens of millions of dollars a year from federal, state, and local reimbursements and grants. We learned that Mary Jennings has received hundreds of thousands of those dollars.
This is where everything happened.
Yep.
In July, too.
Yes.
Just days before, Manatee County deputies say Thomas Matejcek murdered his mom, Patty, and her fiancé, Sean Harrison.
We were looking for Mary Jennings.
He was sent to Mary Jennings' group home by his case manager at Centerstone of Bradenton, a nonprofit health system that provides a wide range of mental health and substance use services.
Do you know if there is a vetting process before a community housing option or home becomes utilized by Centerstone?
I do not.
Is Mary Jennings on a list of community housing options that was made available to you by Centerstone?
The list was passed down from previous forensic specialist.
Who worked for Centerstone?
Yes.
Matejcek would only be at the home for a matter of minutes before he left.
Long gone. Never did come back.
But that didn't stop Jennings from charging Centerstone $480 for a 2-week stay for Matejcek. She testified in a civil case. That was in case he came back.
I always get 2 weeks of rent money when they come and go.
Okay. And did Centerstone actually pay the $480 to you for Tom Matejcek?
Yes.
Do you ever issue any refunds or even a credit back to Centerstone if people don't stay the full time or don't stay at all?
When I'm holding the bed for that person, whether they use it or not, I get paid.
According to Jennings and her son, Thomas isn't the only Centerstone client that has been placed inside the home.
I only house people for them.
7 days a week sometimes, depending on the patient, Jennings testified.
It's always been that way.
A home that is unlicensed.
Or is it fair to say you don't have any rules or any policies that you place on Centerstone people that come to live with you?
Long as the person get their baths and behave like you're supposed to, that's not too much to ask of anybody.
Unregulated.
Do you ever send text messages to or from the people at Centerstone?
No, ma'am. I don't text at all. I don't even have a cell phone.
And Mary Jennings herself, a convicted felon.
Yes, I've been charged with drugs.
We uncovered a criminal history even longer for crimes including assault, other drug charges, and even welfare fraud. This press conference we covered back in 2012 shows her mugshot among dozens of others for EBT fraud.
When were you incarcerated?
From 99 to 2008, and plus from 2012 to 2022.
So, in your lifetime, you've been to prison twice?
Yes.
Her son Calvin is also a convicted felon.
The period of 1999 to 2008, what were you in prison for?
Drugs.
What specifically?
Cocaine.
What about 2012 through 2022?
Cocaine.
He testified that he also helps his mom run the unlicensed group home.
How many are Centerstone clients?
I think about 3 or 4.
Is it fair to say that they are regularly sending people to live at your mom's house?
Yeah, I guess when if they feel that they need that to be the space for them to reside, yeah.
Hi, Miss Jenny.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Body camera footage shows Bradenton police responded to the home dozens of times in just 2 years.
Whenever I'm looking for somebody with a warrant, I'll come here.
Calls including mentally ill patients.
Harmed himself and has a history of hurting others.
It's the third time I've seen her today.
Noise complaints.
She's on live right now having sex.
And a death.
Do we know who found her?
I had one person that passed away inside the house.
From a drug overdose, right?
Yes.
Do you know his drug use? Or what he uses?
Basically back inside
Everything.
at MMH.
Everything.
Did you know that he'd been using drugs?
Yes.
And he's a tenant at your house
Yes.
from Centerstone?
I have, his dad brought him there, and he was under Centerstone.
Good afternoon, Ms. Hammersmith. My name is Taylor McKnight. If you would, please just state your first and last name for the record.
Tabitha Hammersmith.
Even so, testimony with supervisors at Centerstone show that did not stop them.
A lot of people at Centerstone know who Mary is, correct?
They do.
And more programs in the forensic services unit, correct?
Correct.
What other programs?
The hospital utilizes her for discharge services.
Okay. Keep going.
The FACT team utilizes her for placement options. Our comprehensive treatment team uses them for placement options. Those are some of the major ones, but they are large programs, as is mine, and she interfaces with all of them.
In the early 2000s, the state shifted from sending people with mental illness to state hospitals to what's known as Florida Assertive Community Treatment. It's part of an effort to provide comprehensive care to keep them from becoming homeless or getting locked up in jail. Records show Centerstone of Florida has received millions of dollars from the state to house and provide services for those in various mental health programs. In 2023, the year Matejcek showed up, Jennings was paid nearly $127,000. In 2024, that number rose to $170,000.
We do have grants that start and stop.
A Centerstone supervisor testified taxpayer-funded grants were used to pay Jennings.
Centerstone was tasked by the federal government to help combat homelessness.
That was part of the grant.
And through that part of the grant, your understanding is that Centerstone paid Mary Jennings to house some of their clients?
Yes, some of the funding resources were directed towards that.
The question now, did Centerstone know Mary Jennings' history and that her group home was unlicensed? If they did, would they have sent clients there? Are they still sending clients there now? That answer coming up next. While state law requires all assisted living facilities or group homes to be licensed, one of the state's largest mental health providers says they are not breaking the law when it comes to sending clients to a home that is unlicensed and unregulated. Why? Because they aren't forcing them to stay there.
In the situation of Mary Jennings, are you aware that Mary Jennings does not bear a license or any sort of license or credentials to operate a group home?
Outside here.
This home at the center of our months-long investigation raises questions on whether the facility needs to be licensed and regulated.
Are you aware of that?
I have since been made aware, yes.
This after we uncovered the woman who runs the home, an 80-year-old convicted felon, has received hundreds of thousands of dollars from one of the state's largest mental health treatment centers to house men and women, including Thomas Matejcek.
We talked earlier about how, and you agreed with me, that an individual with severe mental illness, a history of substance abuse, and a history of violence would be inappropriate. It would be inappropriate to place them at an unlicensed group home operated by felons, right?
That's correct.
So then you would agree that this individual that we're talking about, specifically Mr. Matejcek, was not appropriate for Mary Jennings' house. True?
I do not believe he would be appropriate.
In this deposition for a civil case against Centerstone, here's Matt Krepop, a forensic program manager. He testified that he was not aware whether Centerstone staff did any background check on Jennings prior to placements.
Is that expectation you would have of your network service providers to do an investigation? Do you consider a basic investigation figuring out if the person who operates it is a convicted felon and or operating a group home without a license?
Yes.
Do you, as you sit here today, do you now believe that Centerstone failed that basic level of due diligence with respect to using Mary Jennings as a placement for forensic clients?
I think yes.
According to the court order from September 2023, Matejcek was not competent to enter a plea for the attack involving his mom and her fiancé, but he didn't meet the criteria for being committed to treatment. The judge said he needed outpatient treatment to restore his competency and tasked Centerstone with finding a residential treatment facility for him. The court was to be notified when he had a change of address. While the court was told he would be staying at Jennings' home, it was not a residential treatment facility. So what was it? According to Florida statute, an assisted living facility is any building, private home that provides housing, meals, and one or more personal service to one or more adults who are not relatives of the owner.
Because I'm supposed to give you medications for her.
In this body camera video, you can see a Centerstone employee dropping off medication to Mary Jennings.
For next week.
Other residents, including Centerstone clients, do they also have that ability to, kind of handle their medication administration themselves? So like they don't need your mom to open the cabinet for the filing cabinet, they can just access it, take their medicine, and then go on about their business?
No, my mom gonna do all that. Yeah, she don't allow nobody to go in the filing cabinet with the medication at. Cause you grab the wrong medication or you do something to somebody's medication, then it's back on her.
We emailed the Agency for Healthcare Administration, otherwise known as AHCA, during our investigation back on February 17th, letting them know we were looking into a possible ALF that is unlicensed, giving them the address to Mary Jennings' home. AHCA confirmed to us that just 1 week later, they conducted an on-site investigation into possible unlicensed activity at the home and provided a notice of unlicensed activity letter to the property owner during the on-site investigation. They told us the investigative report is being finalized.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Meanwhile, a Centerstone therapist testified unlicensed homes like Jennings are not treatment facilities, just housing.
They're not treatment facilities, none of them, including Miss Mary's. They're just a roof over their head.
We obtained the list that Centerstone said are homes where clients are referred. Most only had a first name and a phone number.
How many clients at Centerstone have you knowingly referred for residency to an unlicensed living facility?
Objection. She's instructed not to answer on the basis of her Fifth Amendment privilege.
Ms. Bissell, are you asserting your Fifth Amendment privilege to the question?
Yes.
When asked whether she knew Jennings was a felon, Bissell says when she learned about her past, it didn't make sense.
If she did that and it was so bad, how is she still operating? It seemed, I guess I really don't understand, only that I know it had to do with food stamps. At least I hope. I mean, she couldn't have done anything so wrong if she's still operating. Or whatever she did then, she's not doing it anymore.
We also reached out to Centerstone management about their practice of sending clients to unlicensed facilities. They told us they followed all applicable laws and regulations in Florida and will continue to do so in good faith.
I try not to come through here too often, but I do drive past here every single day to go to work. And it's habit, just from all the issues that have been had. It was habit to look down here, and I still find myself looking down here every single day, hoping that, they're gonna be here, but they're not.
Krista Kale's sister is gone. Her nephew disappeared from a court-ordered placement, and the questions about supervision and accountability remain as he faces charges in their deaths.
People are literally dying. Innocent people are dying And you guys have been warned that this has got to change.
Now, we did ask to sit down with someone from Centerstone for an interview, but our request was denied as this situation is being actively litigated through the courts. Centerstone says in court documents filed in the family's lawsuit that Centerstone has become aware of the fact that Mary Jennings had been convicted of felonies pertaining to possession and distribution of cocaine as well as fraud. It is expressly denied that the organization of Centerstone of Florida was aware of those convictions prior to this litigation. And they also sent us a statement that said, in part, we have enhanced training of all our forensic case managers, and we have expanded decision tree processes to include additional steps for maintaining proactive communication with the courts when the court has initiated a service. You can see their full response right now in our story on our free app. Thanks for watching. I'm Jennifer Titus.